Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa iti namine Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Te Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya 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 Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana 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 Gopala Govinda Rama Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana 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 Gopala Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Guranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Haribol Namaste. Good morning, everyone. Today, the continuation of our study program. And to recap everything that what we have studied, I recall in a nutshell. So the bottom line is to be directed properly, to be guided. And the conclusion will not be the decision making of someone who is conditioned in this material world. It will be a process that is coming from the Supreme Person, and the discussion that we will be discussing is how we can be secured in our focus in establishing what has been lost for so long or what we have forgotten. It is our loving relationship with the Supreme Person, how we can be guided to establish again this attitude of devotional loving service. And it must be understood and guided by God Himself. So I read again here, the path that we are treading, or how secured, how we are guided in absoluteness to achieve the goal. And through this guidance from the saintly person, and in this case, the nectar of devotion, which is being delivered to us through oral reception and through writing from the translation in English of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who is coming in the line of Brahma Sampradaya, coming from Lord Krishna, the descending method. And we will discuss here something that is very relevant in our life, so we can make correct decision how to be pleasing to the Supreme Person, how we can be connected with that world of transcendental relationship. So I'll reiterate again to have a recall of the authorities whom we are following, who are guiding us. Accepting the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, verse 21, the saintly person, Saint Prabhuda, tells Maharaj Nimi, the saintly king, his friend, "My dear king, please know for certain that in the material world there is no happiness. It is simply a mistake to think that there is happiness here, because this place is full of nothing but miserable conditions. Any person who is seriously desirous of achieving real happiness must seek out a bona fide spiritual master." Any person who is seriously desirous of achieving real happiness must seek out a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of scriptures by deliberation and arguments, and thus be able to convince others of this conclusion. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material consideration, are to be understood as bona fide spiritual masters. Everyone should try to find such a bona fide spiritual master in order to fulfill his mission of life, which is to transfer himself to the plane of spiritual bliss. The purport is that one should not accept as a spiritual master someone who is a fool number one, who has no direction according to scriptural injunction, whose character is doubtful, who does not follow the principles of pure devotional service, or who has not conquered the influence of the six gratifying agents. The six agents of sense gratifications are the tongue, the genitals, the belly, anger, the mind, and words. Anyone who has practiced controlling the six is permitted to make disciples all over the world. To accept such a spiritual master is crucial point for advancement in spiritual life. One who is fortunate enough to come under the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master is sure to traverse the path of spiritual salvation without any doubt. So in our study program, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita weigh so much, because the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, as it is The spiritual master, the guidance, is the all-knowing, all-attractive Supreme Person who is our unconditional friend. So when he was speaking to Arjuna, guiding Arjuna, his advice to Arjuna is to seek out a bona fide spiritual master. Surrender to such person. Listen to him. Render loving service. Follow his advice. And if we are able to come in contact through God's grace, someone who is a confidential friend, the spiritual master, whose character is being explained in this narrative of Saint Prabhupada, then we can be guided properly. So Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Person, Govinda, the cause of all causes, as being described in prayers, in the Puranas, in Brahma Samhita, by Lord Brahma. In his prayer, the supremacy of the Supreme Person is established. It was established at the time that song, although the Supreme Person is eternal, is absolute, but to enter that world, someone who knows him describes his character, his potencies, and that person is none other than Lord Brahma, the creator of this universe. When Narada Muni, his son, his beloved son, inquired from him in sweetness, very filial, in loving devotion, bow down and ask him, "My dear father, can I ask you a question?" And that Lord Brahma accepted his question. Listen to his son. And the question is about his activities. And that those activities that Narada Muni observed from his father, although in the power of creation, everything that is here is in the palm of his hands. He asked his father, "My dear father, is there someone above you? Is there someone who is greater than you? Because I see you praying, bowing down, remembering someone. And I begin to wonder, who is this person my father is always relating to in prayerful mood?" And Lord Brahma expressed his heart to his son, his disciple, Narada Muni. He said, "My dear son, I'm very happy that you have asked this question. And now I can express and glorify the Supreme Person." And he composed the song, Brahma Samhita, the song that he composed. "O Govindam Adipurusham Tam Aham Bhajami." I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the cause of all causes. And in many prayers that he prayed, he describes the spiritual world. He described the glories of the Supreme Person. And when Lord Krishna appeared in Dwarpa Yuga, 5,000 years ago to exhibit this transcendental world of loving devotional service with his devotees, inviting us to enter that world. It begins with having a bona fide spiritual master who is not different from the Supreme Person. Lord Krishna tells us, if you follow the instruction of my dear friend, the bona fide spiritual master, who is my confidential friend, it's not different from my instruction. You're following me. That's why the spiritual master is inseparable from Lord Krishna. When a person comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, he's in front of Lord Krishna. You're in front of God. That is the verdict of Lord Krishna. That is the verdict of all the saintly person. So here, in chapter 4, transcendental knowledge, because we, the living entities, we are here in this material world, covered by this body made out of material elements. By nature, we are active. So now, where will we direct that activities that by nature, the living entity will always be engaged in? And here we are guided, to be guided by the bona fide spiritual master. There's one subject, there's one point that I like to discuss here. All of us here in this material world, all of us, the Supreme Person loves us so much. He did not take away something that is inseparable from us, the freedom of choice. He allows us to make a choice. He does not enforce himself to us, but rather through association with his dear friend, his confidential friend, the servant of the servant of the servant, the maid servant of Radha and Krishna. We begin coming in contact with such confidential friend. We begin to make a choice through hearing from their instruction, how we can be guided toward the world of transcendental love, towards tasting the nectar of devotion which we are always longing. But in our situation now, we must become free from these sinful activities we're doing and the sinful reaction that has covered our heart. Because our meditation for so long in this material world, what we have been cultivated, the heart that we have, instead of cultivating this relationship, what we have cultivated is the world of lust, which made our heart so hard. We have laid down, sheltered anger, envy in our heart because of trying to play Lord, false Lord, trying to do our own will. We made that choice. If we put ourselves in the hands of God, God, Krishna will be our driver. We will be tasting the sweetness of loving reciprocation with the Supreme Person under the guidance of our spiritual master to do what is pleasing to God. We will be able to appreciate the relationship between our Gurudev and Lord Krishna. We will enter that world. The servant, previously, prior to coming and meeting our spiritual master, we have a lot of misconception about spiritual life. Servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. We're thinking that servant is based upon material consideration. There's this teacher, then someone follows him who comes prior, who met the guru prior to your meeting the guru, and then you think, oh, this is the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That can be true, absolutely, if that person is a pure lover of God. But with material consideration, encumbered by ignorance, what motivates everyone here in this material world? Is their selfish interest. What is false lordship all about? It's the false ego. So due to ignorance, we were not understanding whom to follow, whom we should repose our heart, our life, because we have not heard the qualification of a bona fide guru as what Saint Prabhupada has enumerated to King Nimi. And that understanding, when we came in contact with His divine grace, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, He's able to open our eyes to teach us the truth, what Saint Prabhupada is teaching. So I'll read here how Lord Krishna protects us and how this process coming from parampara, the unbroken chain, the descending method coming from God, which is absolute and eternal and ongoing. Why it's ongoing, we will discuss about this. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Bhagavan. And Bhagavan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind. This supreme science, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ixbaku. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession. And the saintly kings understood in that way, but in the course of time, the succession was broken. And therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee, as well as my dear friend. Therefore, you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So the qualification to understand this science is through devotional service. And Arjuna, being a dear friend, a pure loving servant, a devotee of God, can understand the science. And Arjuna inquired to Lord Krishna. Arjuna said, the sun god Bhagavan, senior by birth to you, how am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? And here Lord Krishna established his identity as the cause of all causes. He established his true eternal position. The Blessed Lord said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates. And although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharata and predominant rise in religion, at that time I descend myself. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. One who knows my transcendental nature, the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities, does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal nature, my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So here, Lord Krishna established the consciousness of the devotee, who is his dear friend, who hears from him, who hears from the spiritual master. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So Lord Krishna establishing religion, Sanatan Dharma. But now it is the science of the nectar of devotion. It is about a relationship. Years back, when I was relatively in a younger body, I've heard so many teachings, especially I was brought up in a Christian environment. They were always telling us, love God, love God. So I begin to inquire in my mind, how can I love a person I don't even know, I don't even see? And the person who's teaching it, he tells, just surrender to this impersonal void. God is a mystery. Said, how can I understand, give my life to something that is mysterious? And he is talking about a person. Just like you and me, we have qualities of a person. We experience kindness. We experience compassion. We are the ones who is willing, seeing, doing things. And after hearing from the bona fide spiritual master and listening to Lord Krishna establishing his personality, establishing how we can relate to him under the guidance of his confidential friend, the servant of the servant. Then we can understand this science. Just like when Narada Muni inquired from his father, is there someone above you? Because Lord Brahma is all powerful. He is the creator of this universe. Everything that you see here, this material energy, he can manipulate it. The flowers that you see, the beautiful body that the living entity is using, this body, it is a creation from Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma expressed his heart, his meditation about the eternal glories of the Supreme Person. He is relating to a person, and that person is Lord Krishna. He established the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Eternal Friend, whom he is relating to. The science of Bhakti Yoga is the science of love. When we speak of love, it's a relationship. But that relationship is eternal. That's why, to conclude in our study program, why it's important to have someone who is non-different from God, who is transcendental. And I'll read here the conclusion of Lord Krishna, teaching us how to be guided, to be able to offer our life without any fear, because we know we're in good hands. Because in this world, there will be many, many individuals who will be posing as guru, whose intent may be to do good, but being under the laws of material nature, subjugated by lust and anger, they have material consideration. And Lord Chaitanya, in his prayer, expressed clearly the pure heart of the spiritual master. He said in his prayer, in his sixth Shastaka, the foundation for purity, the prayer that is really pure, that connects one's life with the all lovable Supreme Person, the Supreme Purifier, who is non-different from His holy names. He prays, "O my Lord, I have no desire to have material wealth. I have no desire to enjoy beautiful women. I have no desire to have any numbers of followers of mine. My only desire is to be engaged in your loving service, life after life. No material consideration. That state is achievable because Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna is expressing to us how we can be tasting the nectar of devotion. That it eclipses, it negates this temporary flickering happiness that the senses can experience. And not only that, what the living entity, us, being eternally the loving servant of God, what we're longing. So the process in the Kali Yuga, during the time Lord Krishna appeared, the process is surrender. But in Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel and confusion, the process himself, the Supreme Purifier, comes as the holy sound, the transcendental sound that is none different from Lord Krishna, and established by authorities through scriptures, through the fruit of those individuals who have heard, who have accepted the holy names and took it by heart, who just come like, if you study what we have, if you can remember what we have studied, that when this person who listened through the chanting of Haridas Thakur, she had a change of heart. She feels connection with this compassionate nature of the Supreme Person, and she took shelter of the holy names coming from the lips of Haridas Thakur. So in Kali Yuga, it is already established that Harinama eva kevalam kulowa nasteva gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, there is no other alternative. There is no other alternative. There is no other alternative to come in contact, to taste transcendental devotional service, a relationship with the Supreme Person. The easiest way is through coming in contact with the Supreme Purifier, Lord Krishna himself, the holy names, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So Lord Chaitanya comes to this world 500 years ago, chanting the holy names. Our grandfather Gurudev, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, goes to America, bringing the manuscript translated in English, the teachings of Lord Vyasadeva about the glories of the Supreme Person. So he went to the park in Boston and chanted, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the holy names protected all of us. Coming from the lips of our Gurudev, Jagad Guru, His Divine Grace, Jagad Guru, Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, who chanted, who heard, who is chanting purely the holy names, can connect us with this loving devotional service with the Supreme Person. And now, I'll read the conclusion in Bhagavad Gita, so we can be of no fear, very convinced that without a doubt, that if we simply take this path, then we are protected. And I will give you two stories. In short, tomorrow we'll discuss it again. When Lord Krishna tells us, just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. To those who are constantly devoted unto me, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. During the pastimes of Lord Krishna, there was a fight between the Pandavas and his cousins. It is a fight who will rule the world. What is due to them is being taken away by his cousins. And they wanted to do harm to him, to them, to the five Pandavas. So there's this Muni who he is with 60,000 disciples, and they travel from one place to another, Durvasa Muni. When the nemesis of the Pandavas, Duryodhana, came to know that Durvasa Muni is passing by, he made an arrangement that all of them can go and have meal in the house of the Pandavas. And it will be a disaster because Durvasa Muni is with his 60,000 disciples. But Lord Krishna came to know about him. He went to the household and asked, do you have some remaining food? Any grain that is cooked? And he was given what was remaining. Simply and very minimal. And Lord Krishna ate that. So it comes again that if you water the root of the tree, the branches will be nourished. So if one connects one's life with the source, he's protected. So in this case, when Lord Krishna ate that morsel of food, Durvasa Muni and his disciples never experienced hunger. They never thought about passing by in the house of the Pandavas. So they were saved. So that relationship, that when Lord Krishna tells us, just surrender unto me, I'll protect you. And here is the reality of the situation. When Lord Krishna tells us, I'm always thinking of my devotees and they're always thinking of me. Saints are my heart, and they're always in my heart, and I'm always in their heart. Is the world of devotional service. Is the word of love. That's why tomorrow we'll discuss again. Time is running short already. So the point is this. When Lord Chaitanya is praying, I have no desire to have numbers of followers of mine. So being in this path, we should not be diverted by this longing, this material consideration to have numbers of followers. Because we are not the Lord within the heart. We cannot protect them. And you know the attitude of the spiritual master, he's never thinking that he's a spiritual master. He's always thinking he is a disciple of his spiritual master. He has no longing for all this material consideration as what Lord Chaitanya is revealing to us in his prayer. What is that? It is the longing of love. Just like when we describe the son, the child who is lost in this mall, crying, Krishna, Mama! And everybody's there giving him cotton candy, giant lollipop, bicycle, and everything. The child, I want my mama! And he's dying already, crying. And the security guard goes to the information and they tell, there is a child here already dying, crying, cannot breathe anymore. And the mother, who lost her child, goes there, runs, And the child, when he sees his mother, he embraced the mother. In front of all the goodies that is in front of him. The bicycle, the cotton candy. He's not interested. He's just interested with that embrace. So it's just an analogy. Do we experience that? That is the prayer that Lord Chaitanya is praying. To be situated in that devotional service. To be tasting that nectar, life after life, birth after birth. So that is what we should be focusing. In our study program, we can know and be secured. We can know and love God, provided we follow someone and be guided by someone who is a confidential, loving servant of God. The bona fide spiritual master who is under the divine energy of God, who is non-different from Krishna. Haribol, namaste. Thank you very much.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Nanda Shri Advaita Gadhara Shri Vasudeva Brinda Jaya Jaya Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda